Hey there, Australian Survivor fans. We are here again this week with Tally the Votes. We are going to be covering Season 10, Week 37, Episodes 19 and 20. And, well, our weeks are shorter, but the drama seems to be stirring up a little bit now that Nina's been thrown under the bus for,
First
just
of
a
all,
straight up lie.
I do not like 2 episodes a week. This is not enough. I mean, 3 was hard to not have a 4th, but now we got to do just only 2. I don't even know how we're going to,
It feels like we're missing,
the end of
right?
the game, mate.
Yeah, it's getting for real. I think that you would think that 3 episodes would be harder to remember the things that you want to talk about. But I have found this week that the 2 episodes, it makes it more difficult because I don't have that third one to tie it all in a bow, right? So,
yeah.
I don't know. And a lot happened. There was a lot that happened in 2 episodes. So we're going to do our best to cover the main points and the important parts. I guess we really need to start out with... Go ahead, David, what you say?
Before we dive in, I want to ask a question. Has there been one episode in the last 10 when the preview hasn't indicated George was in trouble?
No.
It seems like every preview it's like, oh, this is it for George, and then he isn't in trouble at all.
Well, they try to make it seem like there's a 2 sides situation. And sometimes, quite frankly, after the vote, you can go, there was no 2 sides. That was just all BS that they try, because otherwise it would be boring. So are you saying that they're trying to make it that way because George is winning the whole thing and they don't want us to be...
I think George is driving ratings.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so by making it seem like it might be the week he gets kicked out,
people have got to tune in, right?
I must admit.
It also says something, he's every single week, every single day that they go to tribal, what have you, there's at least one conversation with the other tribe mates going, well, this is our opportunity to get him out. And
yes. But you know what? This week's episodes proved that they all truly believe George is making them feel like they're making the moves with him, that it's not just George. So good on George. They all think that they are, well, no, we're doing it together. It's not just George. It's just George. Sorry.
It has been said, and as we know, David has watched all of the Australian survivors that we have collected over the years.
All of the Channel 10 survivors.
The ones that count, right?
The 2 originals from 2002.
Yeah.
But it has been said by many a fan who has been watching all of these seasons that George's game is greatly improved to his last game. And that improvement is in the social game and his ability to keep alliances together and send people to jury, not quite as bitter as maybe somebody like Russell Hantz would have done. So,
I mean, you know what, though? What a guy, because he took such an incredible chance coming out there with that stupid tattoo. Could you imagine if he would have been voted out the first week? It'd have been like, oh, yeah. At least now, being an amazing player that's driving ratings.
Some cojones, right?
Right, and everybody loves him. When he walks around and he's got that tattoo, they'll go like, you know what, good on you. You proved it. You deserve to have that tattoo.
Now, do you know when he got home from this season, he got a second one on his hand with the green idol?
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
It's been out there on the Twitter.
Nice.
That George.
The green idol's awfully pretty.
It is. I love the
unless it's on a cookie. Then it's not
right.
So pretty.
Exactly.
A butt cookie. On a butt cookie.
A sweaty butt cookie.
A sweaty butt cookie. Speaking of sweaty butt cookies, really, there's no segue for that. I'm not speaking of at all.
Let's jump into episode 19.
Let's jump in here. Okay, so we left off with the votes being thrown and Simon, not Simon, but George thinking that Nina is putting out the hinky votes and isn't with him and that he can't trust Nina. And so
that was hard to watch.
Yeah, and we're opening right into it with him being like, ooh, Nina, and Haley like, mm-hmm. And Nina going, what the hell? What the hell is happening?
Did you see a little of Sandra in her with the denial? She's like, no, I voted for Simon.
Yeah.
I voted
And
for-
also-
she just kept. She was very matter of fact. She didn't get mad.
Yeah.
She just kept
Yep.
repeating herself.
She just kept saying, nope,
Yep, it
Wasn't
wasn't.
me.
wasn't me.
Guess what? Guess what? The big shocker. What did she have to use in order for George to finally realize she was telling the truth? She had to
Well-
drop the ball on the 60 grand that Haley did
Told
have
everybody.
to tell everyone about.
Yeah.
And George could
I've-
not have set that bait up better. It couldn't have worked out better for him.
I mean,
No.
it worked out well for her because that saved
It
her.
did. It gave her. Yep.
Because otherwise, she's just a liar. As soon as she has that morsel, it's like
she
oh,
had more
God.
than that, though. She also had the fact that she told him about. She was told about the Simon vote. She didn't use that, but she could have.
Yep.
And
True.
she could have said it right in front of Haley, and I don't know that she would have been able to deny it.
But
No.
using the idea that Haley betrayed him in that way to
Yeah.
her, it wasn't like, oh, she told Jerry or oh, she told, you know what I mean? She told Nina.
Yeah.
Like he's
Yeah.
like, what?
And
Yeah.
Do you know what I found the most interesting out of all of this? It isn't how it played out. It was pretty easy to see how that was going to play out once that vote was thrown. But what I found the most interesting, and I want to put this credit to George and his social gameplay, is that his reaction and then his confessionals after that lead me to believe that he went into this game, and yes, there were plenty of times he was itching to cut Haley, but he didn't because of friendship.
Mhm.
Right.
Real friendship. Yeah.
Yes. And it was like once this happened, he took a moment to be shocked and upset about it. But then it was like you could see him spin on a dime and be like, now I have permission.
Right. Because exactly. She made the rule, didn't she? He was like, I'm not
Yes.
touching her because she's not going to touch me. Oh, wait, she's going after me. Well, rules are over now.
Yep.
You know,
But it had another
We're just
drawback. It had another drawback that really wasn't Haley related in that he realized right away, well, Matt knew that too and didn't tell me. So
Yep.
he became instantly suspicious of Matt.
Mhm.
Yes. And that's a two-side situation, right? Because on one hand, I can understand Matt not saying anything to him because we've seen Matt play the way he plays and what his personality is. I don't think that he's holding that close to his hip because he can use it to manipulate George or somebody against George. I feel like he's just not mentioning it because he doesn't want George to feel manipulated. Does that make sense? It's like I don't know. From what I've seen from Matt, his strategy isn't. He doesn't have a lot of strategy there when it comes
Does
to
he just wanna,
the
like,
social part.
He doesn't want to stir the pot. He wants their
Yeah,
group
I
to
feel
stay
like he
together.
just. Yeah, exactly. I think he hasn't shared it because he doesn't know where the reaction would go.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how
And
to what would be there to
and-
manage.
And all of them getting along right now is he thinks beneficial to his game. Because if the group breaks up, then where's he going to be?
And he is very, very set on the stick with Jerry, stick with George, stick with Jerry,
Yeah.
stick with George,
Yeah.
which worries me for Maddie, but
Well, and Jerry too.
yes.
Both of them.
You're certainly right, Jamie, that he turned on a dime, and he so quickly and systematically set up the plot against Haley, including the fiction they were going to spin. And I got to say, Nina, who I haven't been really enamored of her gameplay, although we did name her Player of the Week last week, both of us. But I haven't been enamored of her gameplay, but she really sold the fact that she was going home, I thought.
Yeah. They did good.
Oh yeah. With her wandering for her idols. Matt doesn't want to attract George's attention, and he didn't realize someone else would say he knows. Yeah.
Well, nobody did say he knew, but George knew when she said where she said it, and she said that she said it in front of everybody. That's how he knew.
Yeah.
Right. But but that's exactly it. Matt doesn't want to attract that kind of attention from George. He doesn't know how to handle that. Like, what's he gonna when you unleash that animal? Like, do you still have control? No. At least Matt knows he has no control over George's moves.
Yeah, he knows he's a background player and he's like, just embracing it.
Well, and we see that, right? When Simon's saying, "Hey, you're a pawn, you're a pawn," he gets like pretty butt sore about it. But I think he's butt sore because he's worried that he's a pawn.
And then the editing there where they cut right to George going, "Of course Matt's a pawn.
Yes. Fantastic.
He is my pawn."
Exactly. That's the thing. George isn't going to be like poo-poo him because he's a pawn. He's going to be like, yes, he's a pawn. He's very important in my kingdom. I'm going to keep him happy so I can use him. And, oh.
Yes.
Well, and you know what? He could have made a joke like, Matt, maybe he thinks you're a pawn, but if you get all the way to the other side of the board, you get to be any piece you want to be.
Yeah.
He probably wouldn't understand that. What?
And then on top of everything that's going on with Haley and what George is tossing around in his mind with Haley, he's also got Liz that's like, yeah, let's get her out. Yeah, let's get her out. She wanted Haley gone for a little while. So it's not like Liz is going to pull the reins.
Okay, so let's talk about Liz for a minute.
Yeah, because you were convinced that she was going to have like big time butthurt about George, right?
Well, she had a confessional and she said, "I'm going to get him. It's just a matter of when."
But still, she seems to be willing to do it. So, okay.
It sounds like the vendetta's off. I think she's loyal to him now. Maybe the most loyal.
I'm going to put this out there. I don't think it's a matter of the vendetta being off, and I don't think it's a matter of loyalty. I think that Liz has quickly realized that she has the ability to beat him in a final challenge and choose if he's going with her or not, and she is going to cut his ass last minute. That's my prediction. Liz is going to get there, and she's going to be his real threat over anyone else. Liz is his actual.
Liz is the biggest threat left in the game to him.
Yeah. It's not Simon. It's not Nina. He's really focused on it. Yeah, he's super hyper focused in Nina and Simon all the time. Liz can cut him. Jerry's not going to cut him. Jerry's not going to be the one who wins the final challenge. Bless his heart. It's not going to be Jerry.
Well, unless the final challenge is Jerry, George, and Nina, Jerry could win.
Yeah.
I mean, Nina, as far as I know, the only thing she's won so far is at sitting.
Yeah, but I do not underestimate the Twine's like stubbornness in the end. I see her just fighting through things a little further than Jerry. The final
challenges are usually so brutal. Last year's was not anywhere near.
Yeah. I'm sorry, that one where that standing on a point with your foot thing.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
Well, the one
how do you walk after that?
The one George and Nina did, they were on a point and you could hold on to ones above you, and every like 20 minutes the ones above you came until they were like in this little crouch. And George stayed up there like 4 hours and 20 minutes.
Was this when chicken was on the line?
No, this was the final. I mean, George stayed up there a long time.
I'm just saying, if KFC is sitting right next to the final, George has got it.
But I really have to find out from George, and I hope they ask him eventually, what is he? Is he extra crispy? Is he original? What is George like?
I need to know.
Oh, you're gonna know because he's gonna get himself a little
endorsement.
A little endorsement deal, I think.
We got George with the KFC, we got Taylor with the Lay's potato chips.
The Colonel's come to the kingdom.
Now, okay, so we get into that competition where we were talking about the competitions here, and Liz wins and she gets to pull. She chooses to take Nina and George with her, and then quickly we get the Jacuzzi Alliance formed. Spicy, yes. Candyman is right. I have to agree.
Like one of them hot Nashville.
The spices. Gotta wipe the face. But okay, so the Jacuzzi Alliance. All right. First of all, great. There was a great little montage with them. Even though I did message Dave and I was like, it was all great except for the whole they were shaving their legs in the water before they got in the water.
Yeah. Unless that was editing.
It has to be right. It has to be because they get in and they go under the water and everything. I'm
nobody's doing that when it's full of grossness.
Well, here's the thing. You haven't had a shower in like 20 days. And you're you know what? A little hair is not going to bother you at that point.
Just get in there first.
Okay, it's the thing that nobody likes at the swimming pool. Shouldn't they have to shower before they get in? I'd be like,
Yeah,
come
yeah,
on.
like
there
rinse
has
your
to be like
body.
a
At
yeah,
least
'cause
rinse your body in the ocean before you get in. Well,
or
that's got
can
all
we
the
have
sand. I
or
mean,
can we have separate jacuzzis? Because seriously, I like
someone's
y'all,
peeing
but
in
I
it.
don't want to
Someone's
sit.
peeing
Yeah,
in it. It's
mm-mm.
warm water. Someone's peeing in
Oh, it's
it.
got to be George.
Absolutely.
Mark in his territory the
Oh,
second he gets in.
just baptizing his alliance.
And it was really, really hilarious when Liz was like, let's take this cucumber back to camp and tell Simon we found an idol.
Did you see Jonathan tweeted a thing where he had a cucumber on an idol and he's like Simon's new idol?
Oh,
Oh,
God, poor
that's funny.
Simon.
Did you see they're all going to Flick's wedding?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
are
there's
they?
all these
Oh, that's a
photos on
party.
Twitter and they're all traveling together. It's really weird.
That's a party. That's the
I
Well,
party.
it's
saw
not,
the
no, it's
pictures
like
from-
different groups of 2 and 3.
And I saw the pictures from our bachelorette, and I was like, yeah.
Hey, you don't want to invite Simon to your wedding because he's going to dump out all the rice and try to starve you out.
See, I
'Cause
figured he'd be
that's-
the guy who's like hitting on all the bridesmaids,
All of them at the same
like
time.
all of them.
And denying that he hit on the other ones.
Yeah, exactly. Even though they were right, like literally right
trying
next
to,
each
like,
other right there.
Trying to give them like cheesy lines, right? Like a joke, but like he can't get the lines out right.
If I have time this week, I'm going to go back and make a montage of all the stupid things he's said when he writes the name down. Because like in
It's a
20
list.
when he writes George's name down, he's just Kingslayer. And it's like
Yes.
Every
Oh my
single time.
God.
And I'm sorry, every time he says that, I'm like, you're dealing with somebody who's like on Lannister level. You are not a Kingslayer. George
But
is
he
a
wants-
Kingslayer.
He so wants to come out of this game being the Survivor Kingslayer.
God,
TM.
he does. It's because he wants to be. I think it's because he wants to trademark it with his snuffed brand,
exactly.
right? Like
Probably.
he wants to make a
Anyway.
paycheck. So
so,
okay.
so they come back from the
And what did you think?
The jacuzzi.
What did you think about this whole let's pretend like there was a big fight and
I thought it was
like
great.
I feel like they pulled it off a lot better than I
Well, they
thought
had
they
a-
were going to.
They practiced. That was funny. They
Yeah, that was great.
yeah, and the reasoning for her to like go back and be like, I'm sorry I didn't pick you guys. I took Nina so she wouldn't be here on camp looking for an idol. You're welcome. Like that's the way she could turn it around for them if she wanted to, you know? Like I
I'm
did this
impressed.
for all of us. Like it was
And
really good.
I'm so impressed actually that Nina was able to carry a lie even half a foot because she is not good at lying. It's just not one of her gifts.
She's a hero.
Yeah, she's just not good at it. So I kind of liked that they were like, okay, so you say this and then I need you to go look for an idol. And I watched her almost slip it up a couple times because she was like, oh, I need to go get an idol. Oh, I'm in big trouble. I need to go look for an idol.
Yeah.
Like, stop. You've already sold it. Shh. Just go away now. Like, run and hide so that no one can ask for the truth because you won't be able to hide the secret.
Scott in the chat asked if there's a more cringy player in Survivor history than George.
Okay.
And he did raise Philip and Coach. So
See, and I think Philip and Coach were more cringy.
Yeah, because they were icky. Just 'cause
Or
they had
wait a
more
minute. No,
icky-
actually,
at
I
the
think
end of the day, he could be cringy because he's decent looking, or is that what you're saying?
no,
No.
I think that's I
Mm-mm.
think actually the
No,
opposite
it's-
now that I'm thinking about it. The fact that he
I've-
could actually it could work for him sometimes, maybe
Yeah.
that's more cringy. Yeah,
Well,
maybe Simon is more
it's-
cringy. Oh gosh.
It's because of this. This is what I'm saying. There's half a Simon where it's like super cringy. Like I've said, he's like the Mac of the island, but then he's
Yes.
also like the Michael Scott of the island, right? Like he's always making those faces, and like everyone's like looking over at him, like it's the
and
same
sometimes
setup.
he's Dwight, but he's never Jim.
Never.
And he's definitely never Pam.
No.
No. Mm-mm.
So, I mean, there's a little enduring quality. Like in real life, he'd be really annoying and I wouldn't be able to handle it. But as like
But
an
I hear he's
entertainment
not like
factor,
that in real life. Like people who know him say he's
You
the
know
nicest
what?
guy in the
there's
world.
there's no way that this man is not still cringy in real life. But I do
Okay.
believe he is a nice guy.
He might be less cringy in real life. A, he's getting fed, and B, you don't have to spend 24/7 with him. They're spending
Also, there's not
24/7
a
and that
yeah,
might
there's not like
ugh,
TV
too much.
happening, right?
Yeah. Ugh.
It's just funny because whenever he gets a whiff of anything, of power, he just goes crazy immediately.
Agency. It's all about
Do you
agency.
think, do you think somebody in production used the word agency and he like wrote it on his hand?
I do. Absolutely. I feel like it's
What is it? I have agency.
It's like written on his hand. They're like, somebody needs to write it down. He's gonna forget it.
Wrote it on his hand.
Written on his hand.
Yeah, he gets so excited when he thinks he's made a move or he's got something really good. Ooh.
I'm sorry, but I kind of love how awful it is. Like I don't want to lose Simon because he cracks me up.
So Haley
Oh my
decides
gosh.
she's going to move on George altogether too late, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And she starts trying to set up this other vote. And they play it dramatically, and you have Nina, acting like maybe she's gonna. And I'm like looking at it, going, "That's all editing. I've watched too much Survivor."
Yeah.
Yep.
And so they head off to Tribal, and Simon had the immunity necklace again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's probably because he starved everybody out and ate the last of the papaya. Like,
oh my gosh.
he's lucky Shan wasn't there because she would have taken him out at that
Shan
point.
would have punched him in the face.
Eating the last of the
Side-eye.
papaya. We've learned where that lands you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So off to Tribal they go with Simon and his I starved him out win. Now,
Yeah.
okay.
And I think Nina had the best when they voted. Nina had the best thing that she said and then that's exactly why she didn't switch. It was yeah, you really threw me under the bus and then told me it's okay if I threw you in the bus, right? Go along with it. No, I'm not.
Like, no.
I'm not going
No.
along with it.
Okay, but this brings up a question. We're going to talk about our votes. Okay, I don't know if like I missed something or if we all missed something with the editing, but like Haley is pushing for like this whole George vote, and she's talked to Simon and she's done her work. She's talked to everybody. It looks like maybe she could possibly make this happen. I mean, it was a huge blindside for her that it turned around on her. There's all of that, but Haley wrote down Nina's name.
No,
Like,
I
when
think
you
she
look
wrote
at
down Liz's name, didn't she?
No.
I don't know. I think
Haley voted for Nina.
Oh no,
Which
Matt
is like-
voted for Liz. That's right. Because
Yeah.
which
he
is
was
the
told
whole
to.
like, oh, I guess she never was gonna try and take out
Yeah,
George
that's why I
stuff.
was like, wait, we missed a conversation.
That was a
then,
complete-
right? Like
yeah, it
there
was-
had to have been something we missed.
Otherwise,
Well,
that
I
entire
think
thing
she
was
didn't
red
feel
herring.
she had it, so she felt like she was gonna act
Do
like she
you
was
think
with the
that
plan.
do you think that was changed at Tribal, like due to the conversation that was being had with Jonathan? Did you think she changed it then, or do you think she had already?
No, I think
talk to them.
I think she realized Nina wasn't coming.
Okay.
And so she's like, I'm not going to risk my game. At the end of the day, her move to keep Simon, which was smart for numbers for her, at the end of the day,
Yes.
I would argue that the juice wasn't worth the squeeze, and it put her in George's crosshairs, and it was a mistake.
Yep. And I don't think that she would be able to argue that or even attempt to argue that, because she is a savvy player. And I think that she could very clearly see where she had missed her opportunity and swung too late.
And honestly, I'm really glad.
By the time she talked to anyone, George had it all. It was locked in.
Yeah. I'm really glad
had
that
an
George took her
opportunity.
out and didn't take her to the finals because he really wanted to, and I'm so glad he didn't because that was stupid. That was a stupid plan.
Behold the best chat comment ever.
Broken clocks, right? Broken clocks,
Twice a
baby.
day. Yeah.
All right, so
once
let's
in a
jump
while.
into our next into our next episode, which pretty much starts out with Simon being like, I'm an open agent. Somebody scoop me up. Oh my God, please, somebody be friends with me. Because the
And
one
you're a
person
pawn,
we
and
knew
you're a
we had,
pawn, and you're a pawn. Everyone's a pawn. You're
Yep.
like Oprah giving away a car. You're a pawn, and
But-
you're a pawn, and you're a pawn.
Well, but not George. But he wasn't wrong.
no.
Wrong.
That's the thing with Simon. That's what I mean. Like, how can you be so absolutely cringy, is a nice word for it. How could that be happening? But at the same time, you are right so
Mhm.
often.
No,
And
he's
he
got
is.
the right. He's got the right sense. He has no idea how to execute a plan.
He doesn't.
He doesn't normally, but in this sense, does he have anything left to lose by just
Nope.
shooting straight
Now
with them?
he can just, and
Now
that's
he can.
great.
Now it works
'Cause
for him.
Now he can just throw it out there, and he's not afraid to say it in front of George, right? He's
Right,
all like,
right.
"No, you're pulling the strings on everybody."
Mm-hmm.
And it's true. I mean, he is pulling the strings on everybody, and George knows he's pulling the strings on everybody, and Nina knows he's pulling the strings on everybody. And there's no way
But
that Jerry, I think Jerry thinks he's pulling the strings on everybody except for him. I
And
think
so-
Jerry
and-
feels like he's immune to that.
Jerry feels like they are equal duo, that they
Yes.
talk about everything and that they are equal partners.
Yeah.
Just because
And it kills me
and-
because I love Jerry. I love
I
how
love
Jerry's all like,
Jerry.
I'm not budging. I am who I am. I'm loyal where I am. This is what I'm going to do. I love all of those things about him, but it severely lacks in any realistic confessionals for us. Because if you noticed, we haven't got a single Jerry confessional. Nothing. We don't know what's going on in his head.
yeah.
What's Jerry thinking? What are the things Jerry's running through? What are his actual thoughts on this? What does
Channel
that say
10,
about,
come on.
but what does that say about where Jerry's going to head? Does that tell us that Jerry's out and so his moves never mattered? Or does Jerry end up right next to George at the end? Like,
I
what
have
is it?
said for weeks that he's getting the Gabler edit.
That's what I
Jerry
mean.
is.
Hiding in plain sight.
Yep.
No, because okay, here's the deal. I was not a Gabler hater. I saw Gabler playing a good game the
Yes.
entire time. I
Well,
never understood why people weren't
I
saying
would
that.
vary my good game to a adequate game, but I did
I
not
thought you were
discount
fine,
it.
and
But Cassidy
thought-
was just as bad as what was the guy's name that lost to Erica?
Oh, I can't remember.
With the young guy, and he
Ryan
arguably
Ariel,
played a better game, but everyone hated him.
Yeah.
But Gabler's confessions, he was actually talking strategy and seemed to be cluing in on things in
Yes.
his
Yes.
confessionals. Do you know what I mean?
Uh,
Why haven't we got any confessionals?
I
from
don't
Jerry?
think
Does
that, I don't think
the
that we got a
listeners, the
Jerry
listeners
confessional.
say we had a confessional in this particular.
The
person.
listener. The listener says that we did.
Right, right. But that
and-
one was
and
all
if
about
we
how he's
did-
not a pawn.
Yeah, and if we got an actual confessional about where he's at, like I'll take it back, but I don't think we know what the hell's going on in Jerry's head. Because, or maybe he's not getting the confessional because Jerry literally just tells everybody like, "This is what I'm doing," and that's that. Like there is
Yeah.
nothing else. Maybe
He
there's
goes to
nothing
tribal
else.
and he's like, "Yeah, that was tough. We did it. Yeah,
Yeah,
He doesn't
I
give
did
him much,
exactly
maybe.
what I said I was going to do. I'm with these guys till the end. The end.
Well,
That's
but
it.
here's the thing: if it's, let's say it's Jerry, it's Nina, and it's George,
Okay.
and he cuts George and he takes Nina, Jerry could win.
Nah,
And Jerry wins over Nina.
I don't think so. I think Simon
don't-
wins over Nina though.
Who are her votes on the jury?
Against Jerry, most of the tribe.
If,
Like,
if-
most of
Here's the part you're not getting.
Not
The
okay,
Aussies-
not
the Aussies
George.
do not want an American to win. So
Oh,
that plays
you know what?
that.
and if that plays in, then that's another thing. But I think that just
Well, and they also don't want Sandra's daughter because then it's going to overshadow their. Or I'm telling you.
okay, okay. I
I'm
can see all
gonna
that,
I'm
she's an
gonna
original hero.
counteract. But I'm gonna counteract that exact thing that you're saying for this reason. Normally, yeah, okay. We it's an American in there and here, and okay, I get that. but they are in Samoa, which is where her mother became the first 2-time winner of the entire series, at that exact same place, on that exact same place that they're sitting. And that is a story. And that's like being a part of that moment, that monumental moment in Survivor history, might be enough to tip it towards her. And I think
I
that
don't
plays
think
a
they're as
large
big of
portion of
fans of
George's
the U.S.
paranoia.
game as you think they are.
No, it doesn't matter. It's the first 2-time series, first 2-time winner in the entire series. Internationally, the only 2-time winner. And her daughter is sitting in the same place where it happened. I can see them wanting the satisfaction of tying that story up. You can never underestimate the human desire to come full circle. It is just part of it.
I mean,
But
maybe.
But if it's Simon,
But here's the
I
thing.
could see
Here,
them
start
leaning
counting the
more
votes.
towards him.
George, Matt, Shawnee are all voting for Jerry. Liz would vote for Jerry. That's 4 votes right there.
You know what, though? It depends. If Nina is involved in getting
George out?
George out,
but I specifically
he
said in my scenario that
he might respect
he's
that.
cut by Jerry. In my scenario, he was cut by
Not.
Jerry.
I think he's going to give respect to the person that cut him out. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
but she's going to have those other heroes on the jury that could not survive when she did. And she's going to be like, I had no one, but look at me. Look how I survived. The name of the show is Survivor, folks. And I'm
going to
here.
put it this way. I'm going to put it this way. It's a tough one with Jerry. I'm not saying that it's plausible. I'm saying it's possible. I think it's
possible.
far less plausible that Jerry be the one who's cutting anybody. I think if we're going to talk about what's not possible, I think we start right there. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But Jerry's
the
not cutting
previews.
anyone.
We're skipping ahead, but the previews try to have you believe that Jerry's so angry over the vote that he turns on George. No, it was one vote, and George is going to explain why he had to do it.
Yeah, I'm just going to say right now that if things had gone a little different, George easily could have swapped Jerry for Stevie. Stevie, you know what I mean? It could have been Jerry that went home. Yeah. George did not care which one of them he took. He was taking one of them. And maybe because Jerry's quiet, you know. So Jerry can't really say like, oh yeah, I was there from the beginning. I was always making moves with him. Like, he just can't.
Well, and right now, George is reaching a place where I think he'll prevail through it, but he is becoming so paranoid. He's so paranoid. Again, this is the point in the game that you're probably going to become paranoid, especially if you're in the position he's in, where he's clearly at the top. But do you think I think it's okay. Honestly, we could touch back on it if you want with the competitions on this. I don't think it's super necessary because I think
talk about the tribal and the outcome.
Yeah, the heat of this episode's really at the tribal, and then the twist that comes in.
Which, by the way, everyone who watched knew it was non-elimination week, and the players had to know it.
But it's usually at 7, right? Like, that's why Haley.
It was a week late, right?
Right. Now, his paranoia, because he's very paranoid, and he's hyper focused on Simon, and he's hyper focused on Nia. He let go of a little bit of hyper focused on Simon. That's a different problem for another day. But he's really wrapped into Nina, and he's really wrapped in, I can't trust Matt now. I can't trust Matt. Well, see what's happening is he's got his alliance around him, and now he's like, I can't trust anybody. I can't trust anybody.
Well, and I think Nina very well may turn on him. She didn't just get 5 votes.
Well,
out of 6 people.
Obviously, he has to not trust one of them. At this point, you have to. You're at the point where you're knocking them out. Who do you trust the least?
The only thing he can try to do, he can go to Nina and he can explain to her the plan and go, you know what, it was Matt,
right,
who turned on you. It was supposed to be Simon, but and you can also say to her, for real, you shook Simon's hand in the middle of tribal. I had to think you jumped ship.
And I honestly wish they would have gotten rid of Simon. because I think it would have been more interesting going forward, but only because
Well, here's the thing.
I don't want him to go on another tear. I
See,
want it to
they
be.
should have put Simon on that. If he would have gone in the twist and gone to isolation and not fed him.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's
you
the
can
thing,
only take
though.
the rice you left at camp.
Simon
Here's the
would have
rice we
been-
found in the ocean.
Simon and Nina would have been a waste going into isolation. What is she going to do? Like, oh, we have to get George out. Okay. It's a waste. It's a waste.
Yeah.
Nina's still going home next week unless something massive happens. Nina's getting the vote out. She's not going to get to stay in this game. But at least with Jerry, it's going to make more interesting episode because she has to go against the most stubborn man that's sitting there and try to chip away and get him to like kind of understand where he's sitting at the game. Simon would have been nothing. Matt even might have been better than Jerry because at least we would have felt like maybe they'll make a move. But with this twist, do you think that fair clearly doesn't always matter in this show, but do you think it was like really unfair to announce the twist after they voted?
Well, the other thing, did he ask for idols before we announced the twist? I thought that was bullshit.
Yes.
Too.
Yes.
Didn't.
And
Did he? I thought he came back and he said, before I read the votes.
nope.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm not
idols
sure.
first.
Honestly,
Okay, I'm
I
gonna
can't
defer
recall.
to you. I don't recall that.
Yeah, I don't recall it. But I mean, this is like at the end of the game. This could have massive change written all over it, and you're not going to give them the ability to make the choice of who has to go.
This is how Haley got saved. She got voted out. She got sent to Redemption Island or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Played her way back in and then won the game.
Well,
Because
and
she
her
won
exit
immunity every
interviews.
time after that.
Her exit
Did the-
interviews indicate that that's why she made that comment was, please don't let it be Exile Island, because she
Right.
still doesn't live down. People still accuse her win of not being worthy because she was technically kicked out of the game and
But
came
that's
back in.
and that's why people probably didn't want to cut her and took her to the end because they're like, she can't win.
She can't.
She was already kicked out of the win.
But it happens.
Yeah.
It happens
It
because
happens.
because the counter argument is being kicked out of the game, coming back in and fighting to stay is even harder.
So you don't think you agree with me that George isn't really in any jeopardy this
No.
week? It'll be next week.
I don't think that George is in any extra danger than he has been in the last 3 weeks. It's not to say something couldn't happen to him, but he is in no more danger.
I mean, it's looming. It's getting closer for him.
Yeah.
Because the other people are
feel-
falling away, but
I guess this next episode maybe will change my mind, but I'm really stuck with the idea that it's going to go down that more than likely it's going to be Liz cutting George. I don't know. I feel because even if it's Simon,
She doesn't
even if
seem
it's
to be
Simon, I
leaning that way.
why would she be right now? Why would she be? She's got to get to the end, and he's the only target
Well,
bigger than her.
And you're right. The minute he's out, she's next.
Yeah, absolutely. Because no one believes that Simon could hold a vote in that jury, so they'll let him come along.
And jury Villa video notwithstanding, the only person on that jury voting for Simon is what's his name? The guy that got kicked off.
Sam.
Yeah. That's the only person who's voting for Simon.
That's
But
how I
But
Dawn never
regardless-
liked him, you know.
if Liz wants to win some challenges so she's not on the block possibly or being backdoored, doesn't she need to get rid of Simon? I just don't want him to go on another 3 or 4 in a row.
But let's say
there aren't 3 or 4 in a row left.
let's
but,
throw a
you know,
few let's throw a few trios out, okay? Like let's say we
yeah.
have Liz, George, Simon, Matt. Okay. And it's dwindling down between those. Let's say we get to a point where let's put Liz in the win. She has to make a cut. Out of those 3, who's she going to cut? Is going to be George. She's going to win against Matt. She will be able to talk her way around Simon easily.
Simon will sound like he's saying something, but he's not saying anything at all. Like,
Right.
Yeah. I can't see
No
her. Let's put it this way. If Liz has the opportunity to cut George at the end and she doesn't, she loses the game. Anybody doesn't cut George, they lose the game.
they lose because he's
Scott thinks George is going to go out at 4. Now, this is contrary to his prediction on Twitter on 3-7 that he would go out 7. So Scott's making a lot of predictions. He's bound to be right at some point.
Hey, he's
Listen,
able to pivot.
Scott.
He's able to pivot. That's important in this game.
I have the
No, you
receipts.
just- you
I have the receipts right here.
Cover all your bases. Cover all your bases. You got it.
Yeah, you gotta pivot, man. So okay, let's put George.
Pivot.
Let's
Pivot.
let's
I'm sorry.
pivot.
I flash to
Let's
friends
do it.
every time.
let's put George in the position where George he wins the challenge and he is allowed to make the cut. He cuts anyone except for Jerry. Don't you think?
Yeah. He's keeping
He
Jerry
knows
and
he can't have Liz next to him.
he's keeping Jerry and he's keeping Simon if he's there. Or he'll keep
Most
Nina
likely.
because he beats both of them.
He beat or Matt. He could keep Matt too. It wouldn't matter.
Right.
He beats any of them.
So now this is where I find it interesting because I feel like maybe we're all sitting in sort of the same clouded waiting room of just waiting it
Mhm.
boiling down to either George or Liz, right?
Mhm.
George has mentioned his paranoia about Matt and about Nina and about Simon, but he hasn't about Liz. I mean, maybe when the shiz thing was happening, but it's like he got a rap on that as soon as he knocked one of them out.
Yeah.
Right.
Are we just not getting it? Are we just not getting it for the art of storytelling? Or do you
Or
think
he
he is?
just-
Yeah, like he genuinely
Threatened
doesn't
by her
think
at
it.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like he should be. I feel like he should be. Because her social game was good. Was it as manipulative and an artist? Was it like an artist of like George has pulled off this artistry? No, my God,
No,
it isn't.
but I think he underestimates her and thinks that Shawnee was the brains of that duo. And he might not be wrong. She was the more vocal one, right? She was the one kind of like,
But
you
do
know,
you think
that doesn't mean
sitting
Liz
at
isn't
the head-
thinking.
Who do you
She
think
talks about.
Shawnee convinces? Who do you think Shawnee pushes to get the vote at the final between Liz?
See,
and
I'm not
George?
convinced she pushes the jury to Liz. I'm not convinced of that.
I'm
And
convinced she
people say
votes
that.
for Liz.
People say that all over Twitter. She's played the game 3 times. She appreciates quality play. I think she votes for George, and they're friends.
Well, Jamie, you said it
I
last week. We got to stop agreeing on everything. And this week, it's Devil's Advocate week. You're right. An argument can be made both ways. I see both of your
Yeah.
points. Honestly.
Yeah, it's a tough because
Who
I
knows?
can see the loyalty to the game and George and we did this and that, but also I don't know, she's pretty damn impressed with Liz. She really in her interviews. It's always about Liz, and Liz is like her understudy. She sees Liz as her.
They were
strikes
like-
me that Liz to me seems a little more impressed with Shawnee. Like she might have a
That
little
was
crush
like-
going.
Maybe.
Yes, it was like that was her work wife. You know what I mean? She's kind of
Yeah.
like, we're hanging out all day long. We're making plans. We're doing our thing.
I still
Yeah.
truly believe that George, by and large, holds all of the cards. He's sitting at the final. I really,
does.
truly do.
I can't see him losing.
Yeah, I don't see anybody really getting to at this. Even if they had a winning streak, I just don't see it. I don't.
Well, you
this
said,
point.
because I haven't seen it, his original tribal, final tribal, he was horrible. But I
He
don't
was
even
tone
know.
deaf, absolutely.
But now I don't even. He probably doesn't even have to say anything because all of his actions speak enough. Like, were you paying attention? Like, did you see?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Scott, by the way, agrees with me and thinks Shawnee is more likely to vote George over Liz.
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll
We
see
will-
if it's
that was-
Liz and George sitting there.
And this is what makes it interesting, right? Oh, I
Yes.
can't wait.
Now,
I
I
mean,
just wanted to I kind of wanted to cover some of this because here's why. This is why I needed to cover this because I find it incredibly interesting. If those that are watching have not seen it on Twitter, this will be maybe interesting to you. But I am going to pull this open. There is a thread that has started on Twitter that is going to go ahead and take this season of Heroes versus Villains, and it compares it side by side with the U.S. Heroes versus villains, and there's just some like really fun
And the
again,
conclusion is always that
comparisons.
I know how it ends too.
But the thing is the thread did end before our last 2 episodes. It ended before Haley was gone. But some of these things some of them we've already talked about and we knew. But I'm gonna throw this out that it is from at the Dave Healy's Twitter. So I did not come up with this. This was his thread.
Yeah. Thanks, Dave
Okay.
Healy.
So David Healy
the
has
Dave.
pointed
I'm
out.
the Dave.
I'm the David. All right. So first of all, we start out with both seasons start out with injuries on the challenge. First episode, 1 man, 1 woman, both from the same tribe. 3 of the 4 were able to continue playing the game despite the injury. So there's the comparison there. At the first competition, the injuries, same tribe, 1 man, 1 woman. Let's see here. Both villains' tribes have the larger-than-life personality male who forms the alliance with the 2 younger women. Despite their small alliance being initially outnumbered, they gain traction in the tribe and they find many idols. So we've got our Shawnee and Liz and George. Okay, and then we've got Pavarti and Russell.
Did you say Pavarti?
I can't. Who was the third person that was with that group? Do you remember?
Like her, I love that. It's really great on a sandwich.
Oh, sorry. Is it was it Janine? Who was it? Who was the 3? I can't remember. If you know, Scott, let me know. Okay. Big personality male has the hat. The hat gets burns. Obviously, right. Simon. You tell me Simon doesn't watch American Survivor. Like, look what I'm going to do.
Well, he'd be great. He'd be great on American Survivor now.
Both hats are burned by their main nemesis.
No, he can't get cast on Survivor right now, but...
When it's time for the scrappy villain alliance of 3 to recruit a 4th member, they bring in a Jerry to their team. Got a Jerry on both sides.
Wow. Are you saying this is scripted?
No, I just think it's fun comparisons. Shortly before it's time for the tribes to merge, the heroes tribe decides to pass along an immunity idol to someone on the villains tribe after an immunity challenge. So, again, it's getting weird, right? Little weird.
Now, this Heroes versus Villains was back when U.S. Survivor was still Survivor, right?
Yes. Oh,
right.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to do that. I'll stop.
You stop that right now. You're this close in isolation, buddy. This close. At the merge, a pivotal conversation takes place where one of the hero women tries to lie to the villain woman, but the villain can read the face, knows they're being lied to. Not only do both versions have a twine, but both twines find their first idol in the game, and both idols end up in their bras. It's a bra idol. This is to counteract the butt idol.
Okay, I just got to say, the bra idol is always preferred over the butt idol.
I'm with you. 100%. 100%. All
it's
right.
Just cleaner. It might be sweaty, but it's cleaner. Yeah.
Sweaty as can be. A previous winner reaches out to the heroes with some intel that may save their game. It was Rupert in the first one. Unfortunately, the heroes do not trust them. In both instances, the biggest skeptic is the one that goes home. A few votes into the merge, the big personality male realizes the 2 women in his core alliance are closer with each other, and in both versions, he decides to prematurely break up the alliance, sending one of the women home. Though I would argue it was not premature.
It was a perfect move.
Yeah, I believe so.
It was a perfect game move. It was the best game move ever.
Yeah.
Ever?
I was channeling Trump.
Also, they're on Samoa. They're in the same place. This thread continues with a few other people, like throwing in some more comparisons, like the jokester of the show being Jordy, and in their case Tyson, totally screws themselves over in trusting the wrong person. The big theatrical tribal is the causing momentum that swings the move from minority by winning over the elder statesman and coach/Stevie. There's a ton of different comparisons that are really fun to kind of line up. But like I said, the comparisons kind of end once Haley's all like, totally blindsided. And
Yeah.
Which
But
you
still,
gotta
it's
admit
a little
was a brilliant
creepy.
play.
what's
I
that?
feel like
I
someone.
mean, Haley never saw it.
Oh no, and she'll give kudos too. I mean, she did right then and there. Like, didn't see it coming. Good job. So
But I feel like someone needs to call the X-Files on this. It's a little weird.
it's a little weird, right? It lines up.
It's a little weird. It's a little
Right,
weird.
it lines up a little tight. Now, what does that say? Does
Okay.
that say
I
like
think that's what that says is the Survivor gods want US to go back to playing an Australian
I
style
think that
game.
even without that, it has some of that there. I think some of that energy is there even without this. But
My
I
husband
believe
would
with
say
this-
it's proof. It's proof that it's all scripted and they can't come up with original ideas. And they finesse and make the things happen.
I think that it's proof that sure. I you know what? There's a little bit there.
You know
I
what?
can
I don't even
say
care.
there's a little bit to that.
Not even mad.
I also think it's outstanding proof that human beings, though we like to believe are unpredictable, are incredibly predictable. So
And we're just not that special. Right?
we are not as creative as we like to believe that we are. And the people who play this game and play Big Brother and any of these games where you've got to make an alliance and you've got to lie, you got to push people out. Anyone who is good at that has a great understanding on the predictions of what's the most likely scenario that's going to happen. This is a human. Take away all their what's the most likely scenario.
Well, and this is why a Sandra and a George are such unique characters in Survivor Law, or because they don't follow the thing. I mean, Rob is a great player, but I can argue that Rob plays traditional Survivor. He just does it well.
Yes, but Russell
Or George and Sandra throw it all out the window.
is another one too, right? Because he can.
Tony.
They can feed.
Yeah.
They have the ability to see the predictions, like the common recycling of ideas. They can see that. They can put the gameplay together. They know if I do this, the most likely case scenario is that this person's going to do this.
Yeah, it's like the old joke where they're playing chess and the other guy's playing checkers. I mean,
that's why they're all David.
George can see the whole board, and Simon doesn't even know he's in a game.
Right.
That's how different, how separated.
Simon's like outside playing hopscotch.
Yeah.
he's not even in the house, buddy. He's not even there.
Yeah, poor Simon.
You know what though? You know what? I don't care because
he's like, mommy told me I was special when I was little, and I am so special.
My ability to sit through a Simon scene at the beginning, I was like, oh my God, this guy. No, not this guy. Nuh-uh. That's my biggest surprise of this season. We knew that at some point Christy was going to be like, you know what? Okay, this George guy is kind of interesting and entertaining. And why am I rooting for him? We knew that would happen. But
I told you he's like an earworm song that you can't stand. Yes. And after a while, you're like singing it. You're happy you're singing it. You can't figure out how it happened.
And you said that, and you warned me. But I was like, there's no way. I was so far afraid, horrified by this person and how creepy he was, and I thought there's no way. But the way he's always like, he's that penny that always lands right side up, right? That no matter what.
Now this is the last argument, not argument, discussion, whatever I want to have before we get to our tally the vote section. I need to know if George is out and Simon is up against Liz withstanding. George and Liz are out. Simon, does he win against Jerry?
Maybe. It depends on how George goes home.
Ooh.
If Jerry were to send him home, then no. If Simon were to send him home, then absolutely. If somebody else did.
Do you think Simon wins against Matt? Matt's
100%
challenges. But
100%.
Simon wins over Matt, you think?
Sure.
Because they can't get rid of him because he's the cockroach in the game. He has pivoted because
he's more the George this game than George was. The first game they tried to for 47 days they tried to kick George out.
Yep.
And this one, nobody wants to get rid of him.
So I'm saying, guys, Simon could win this game.
Right. I'll acknowledge that, but here's one thing I got to tell you is I was reading some stats. George has sat through now 35
Yep.
34 or 35 tribal councils.
How many
He's
times has his name been written down?
He's never once been sent home,
Mhm.
and only once been saved by an idol. So
Okay.
this guy's hard to kill.
So there's been one time out of his career of doing this that he was truly in danger. And what, has his name got written down one time this season?
He's so
George,
good at
he gets
controlling.
a single. Simon's had no votes
No, Simon had one. He did have
just
one.
now.
But he's so good at controlling the vote going into tribal. He's
Yes.
just so good at it. And
And
he's
when
so
he knows
good at
he's in
watching
trouble, he
people.
can move people at tribal.
Yeah, he's really pays attention to and he reads people really well. Like, do not play poker with this guy.
Oh, it's
Well,
Zero. Don't do it.
I will
And before-
endlessly be impressed of where he's been able to move and outmaneuver some of these people.
Before we tally the votes, it was mentioned in the chat that he's not looking for idols.
Yeah.
The first time he played, it's all he did, right?
He was
And he found a
obsessed
lot
with
of
it.
them. But he never had to play them for himself. So I think he survives this week. He's going to find an idol because he knows.
Yeah,
He's
because he
not
hasn't had to
stupid.
have one. He hasn't had to. He has such a good read going in. He has, like I said, his
And-
name hasn't been written down, and he knows he's fine.
And by
One
the way,
season-
his number one ally, the last time, sacrificed her game, played her idol, and then went home the next vote to save him.
See, humans repeating their behaviors, David.
Hmm.
Can't get away
At
from
least I've stayed out of isolation. I've only ranked on US twice this week.
Just give it a minute. Just give it a minute. Okay, so player of the week.
Well, it's always
Otherwise-
George because it's
Yeah.
always George.
I know it's
But-
like I feel like we have to put a disclaimer. Player of the week,
Yeah,
other
it's
than
always
George.
Okay, but in second place, I feel like for me, again, the most enjoyable to watch and the one that seemed to be kind of like making things happen or at least realizing things were happening is Nina.
Yeah.
Just because she was able
She
to
got 5 votes on the second episode. How could she be player of the week?
because she very
Part of
easily
the big
could
part
have
of the Haley takedown for sure.
she very easily could have gone home the week before because George was gunning for her and she had to deal with that. Just the George getting on her and thinking that she was lying. And the amount of times he was like, you're lying. And it's like, and she kept her cool. I don't think I could do that. I would have cried. I would have, I'm for real telling the truth.
Like, it wasn't me, I swear to God.
Like, how do I
Okay.
prove this to you? I don't even.
Yeah. That'd be so frustrating.
And at no point did she make the argument that I thought she should have, which was like, I don't know, bro. It wasn't me. It was one of your people. So you need to look there. Meanwhile, you're pointing at me and they're stabbing you in the back. Like, she could have really thrown shade on those other people. She didn't. She just kept saying it wasn't her, which
But that was
made
smart
it so
because it would have alienated other jury votes that she could potentially
Correct.
keep. Right.
correct.
She did,
So
that's
again, she did a great job because I don't think I could have done that.
I would also
throwing it on
say-
someone else.
I would also say that her getting voted out, I might have to backtrack, but I'm going to put this out there. Her being voted out this week wasn't directly because of a mistake she made. Not really.
No, it was really because of a mistake George made.
Yeah. And
And,
so
and here's George's mistake: is he got upset with Matt.
Yep.
He didn't trust Matt. He didn't trust Nina. And what Matt did was actually pretty smart, if you think about it. Because as far as Matt knew, 2 votes were going on Simon, 2 were going on Nina, and then they were going to put him out on the revote, right? So by getting Simon to vote for Nina, he thought he was sending Nina home and keeping Simon. So yet another player thinks he can use Simon as a useful idiot.
Right.
That's what he was
Simon
doing.
can win this. If Simon can recognize that, that's the big if, right? Can Simon recognize that he was the
To
tool
call them
everyone
out?
needed to
Be-
use?
Because if he gets to a final and he makes an argument, he can point right out and be like, you saved me,
Yep.
saved me,
Yep.
you say,
Yep.
but he probably
But that's what Matt. That was his play. That's why he switched his vote. That's why he told Simon to vote for Nina.
yeah.
So I can't find a whole lot of folly with Nina having player of the week. given that, even if she is the one voted to be out. That's tough. That's tough. Otherwise I'd have to say it goes
because
to Jim.
she's not really out.
Yeah.
Back in.
Maybe.
I'm going to refuse to award a player of the week.
All right.
Because I think Nina had a fabulous episode in 19 and a really bad one in 20. Okay. And I think George has, for the first time, really, I've seen holes in his strategy, and he's got certain people he's fixated on for no reason I can discern. Maybe it's something that's going on off camera that we're not seeing. But I don't think his play is that great. I mean, Simon won a challenge and didn't go home. Maybe him just for that reason. Matt won a challenge, and
it's Jerry, guys. It's Jerry. Want to know why it's Jerry? It's because Jerry's still sailing in the way that Jerry's been sailing the whole time with it. He got a whole RHAP podcast about his nipple tattoo this week. There was
absolutely Sailor Jerry.
Sailor Jerry, Pilot Jerry. Also, I have to say, he got to sit just chill out where he's at. But you know what did happen is Simon came to him, Matt came to him, Nina came to him, and they were all chattering in Jerry's ear, and he just stood there and got all of the information and didn't have to do squat. Jerry.
So what say you two? What say you two? What is the judgment? Can I choose not to pick a player of the week? Da or not yet?
You know what? I'm going to allow it. I'm going to allow the da. I'm going to allow it. And on that note, let us get over into our Jonathan send-off, because it was a little weird this week. We only had 2. First of all, that's weird.
And one of them was really bad.
And one of them really wasn't a send-off, really. But you got to do what you got to do. I hope that you guys did actually get to see the 25-minute montage of every single send-off he's done.
No, but I have a tag to watch. I haven't gotten to do it.
It's tag me. It's 25 minutes, and every single one of them starts out with, well. It's by the 50th time you hear it, it's just it's the joke, the man stands and pees for 20 minutes joke. It's that. It's literally this shouldn't be so funny, but becomes hilarious. Okay. Our first send-off is on a tribe of friends like these. Who needs enemies?
That was kind of weak.
Sort of obvious. Kind of obvious, And then the second one is your torch almost got snuffed. You have 24 hours to figure out why. I'm not jealous.
Which isn't really a send-off. It's literally advice. It's literally what they have.
Seriously, I'm going to refuse to vote. I'm going to refuse to decide. Jonathan, you fucked it up this week. I'm not doing it.
I'm in isolation. There, I've officially put David in isolation, so he does not have to vote.
Yes.
You get no vote.
No vote for you. Oh God, it's like U.S. Survivor. They've taken my vote.
So we've covered Survivor, Friends, and Seinfeld in one episode. Good on us. We're great.
No vote for you. You're a very bad man.
Anything? I don't think there's anything else. We got to jump into next week, and we're going to turn the corner on this game.
I mean, I predict that George will begin looking for idols, and that'll become a bigger part of his game.
He needs to.
Yep.
He needs to, because now there's nowhere else to look. There's nowhere else to look but at George. So.
And I'm a little concerned because I think this Jerry thing might have a little legs. Because Jerry's he's played such a loyal game, and if he really does truly feel that George lied to him, it's going to be tough.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
So.
It depends on if Nina is able to.
It depends on how George can explain himself.
Do you think they'll get a chance to even talk, though? Because, within isolation, they
That's
don't really
true.
get to be
no,
there.
That's true.
Now we did get the shot of we did get the shot of him George crawling in spying, trying to listen in on the conversations.
Yeah.
He's wigging out, right? Like he's scared.
Yeah.
He's skirt. He's so skirt.
He's like, because he knows Jerry's loyal to him. Jerry's loyal to him because he's always standing there, right? Just stand right next to him.
I like how he's like, wasn't good for me.
And he knows Nina a little better now as a player after a couple more tribals. And maybe he's like, she might really be able to say something to him. Maybe she can convince him to not be loyal.
She can just throw out that $60,000.
I can't remember. Did Nina say anything mean to him at the tribal where they voted him to go over to the Dream?
Mm-mm.
It was Sam, right? It was Sam.
It was all Sam and David.
Okay,
right?
So it's not like
David. We hardly knew you. What do you have? One confessional?
He's
you looked good when you threw that ball at the net, but otherwise we don't know much.
So I'm like, he can't hold that against her, right? Because he's an original hero, and based on his ethics of loyalty and honesty, he's a hero. So maybe she could appeal to him that way. Maybe. You don't think so?
No, I think the appeal is he lied to you. He's still lying to you. You're stupid, and that's
always
her
been
play.
Lying to you.
Right.
He's a villain. He told you he's a villain.
Right. He's got an alliance with me and with Liz, and it's a final 3. And he's been stringing you along, and that's how she'll play it.
I would my case to him would be those things. Okay, we can put those things out there, but also you're never going to win next to him. No one's going to win next to him. You do have a chance to win against myself or maybe Simon. You know what I mean? But you've got to get rid of Matt. You got to get rid of George. You're not going to win against either of them. Your alliance has been great up until this point, but who are you here to play this game for? For you and your family, or for George and Matt's family? Has
Jerry had the heartfelt moment of why it is he's playing the game, why it means to him?
At the very beginning, when he was talking about it would set his family up. And,
it was something about for his company, right? Because he's
to get the sons being able to work for the company.
Yes, and there was this will set us up for at least 2 years or something to that effect, wasn't it? Long enough for okay. Yep. So maybe that'll really start.
That's the angle she has to come at. It can't even be about loyalty. It's got to be it has served you well up to this point.
Yes,
I see why you did it. But if you want to win this game, you know that it's there. But your loyalty is getting in your way a little bit because you're a good man and you want to stand by your word. But here's the reality.
Yeah.
But then she needs to put out there, you do have a chance of winning against Simon.
Yeah.
You do stand a chance winning against
me. Yep.
But you're not going to against George, Matt, Liz, whatever she wants to put out there. You're just not. This is the time. This is where you play Survivor. You have to. Yeah. You're not winning otherwise. You're not even coming close to winning.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And like you guys said, there's no second place. So.
Nope, there's no second place prize. You win it or you lose it, and that's that.
And they don't tax it in Australia.
Right.
Yeah, see? And they're not taking the tax. And see, that's the other thing, too. And then this is where she needs to talk to him about the $60,000.
I don't think the $60,000 is going to have any impact.
But if she is using the argument of the loyalty that he's had for George, it's not a matter of that.
The return to that is your mother won $2 million. Leave me alone.
Yeah, but so loyal.
It doesn't matter because she's not there to
tell you.
But she's not there to defend herself winning the money, in the argument for Jerry. The argument at this point is you have to detach from him right now.
Right, because if you're so close to George and he trusts you so much, why didn't he tell you he won money?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a few angles. There's a few angles.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Will it be his undoing? Likely not. No. But she does have a little wiggle room in there.
Well, there's a crack there. There's a crack there that she can kind of exploit if she works it correctly.
And this is also all on the balance of, does she use that wavelength? Does she think that way through it. Maybe she can.
You know, I'm just saying this is her chance to shine and show the world she is Sandra's daughter.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I would love to see that. Maybe not for her to necessarily win, but for her to have it in her.
Yeah, even if it doesn't
do
come into
something.
fruition,
Mhm.
yeah, she doesn't win. She
Yeah.
wants
To make
you
something happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
wants
cool.
you to try
Anyway.
with all of her might. And you know what? Sandra was never a physical player. She was all social.
She
and
never found an idol. Is that what she said?
she
Or
found one
never won a
idol.
child. Never found. Never
And she
won a
won.
child.
She found one idol, and like her daughter, played it unnecessarily.
Yeah.
Put it in her bra, baby. That's a bra idol for you.
You know what though? Maybe that just proves that the idol, once you have it, is such a distraction that you can't play your game correctly. That getting rid of it helps.
Well, look
your
at
game.
Sean. Look what it did to his game. It ruined it.
Idols are a blessing and a curse, right? Like sometimes they're there at the very right moment to save you or an ally, but man, they come with a lot of baggage. That's
Just
why
like
you're
the
not
Ring of
supposed.
Power.
Oh, this is like hobbits. It's always about the hobbits. They walk and they walk and they walk. Potatoes. All right, guys. Well, we're going to be here next week, right? Same time? Same day? Thursday? Same time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Covering the next 2 episodes?
And then we'll have to talk about the final episode. Maybe we go Tuesday instead of Thursday.
Yeah, we might get a little closer to game day to
that.
cover the finale.
And before we sign off, I have one more message. I have to send it out to Colleen at the mothership. Yes, I did watch your podcast. Thank you for saying happy birthday. But I know you'll never watch this and never see it.
Ooh. So yes, happy birthday to David and happy St.
and when
Patrick's
they're all
Day
out
and
there,
be safe.
St. Patricking and drinking your green beers, have one for our buddy David in isolation and
double nickel tomorrow.
And Uber's your friend. Just
it is.
Bye.
Preferably the Uber that comes with water bottles. No one wants a hangover. Drink your H2O.
Yep.
Okay, guys. We'll see you next Thursday. Everyone take care.
Bye.
Bye.